There are dozens of us out there. There's ISSA and ISOCA is going to be having their meeting December 5th. Kansas City Women in Tech Holiday Party is actually really fun. Kill Level Club, you don't have to be a lady to attend. And then the Stan's Holiday Hack is actually already starting, so be sure to sign up for that. Next is news in a minute, and then we have some music, and then we're going to have a talk on brain computing interface, so be sure to be terrified by that. And again, shut the fuck up during talks, please. I'm really excited to hear this one. And then after that, we're going to have more DJ time and the swap November. So if you brought stuff to swap, we'll be setting up in that shut the fuck up room. We'll open the garage door back up, and the shutting of the fucking up will be ceased. So, get ready to yap and be yapped at. Thank you. Be sure to tip your bartenders. Thank you. News.
Next up, Okta! Again, they had a thing last month as well. They did a fucky-wucky and were concatenating username and passwords and throwing through bcrypt. So if there's more than 52 characters on, like your username is more than 52 characters on, any password worked. Thanks, guys. Nationwide, oh, I accidentally cut it off. Nationwide Telecom and its CEO are getting sued. Well, not sued. They're under investigation for wire fraud and conspiracy to steal funds from the government. They asked for that one. An intern tried bypassing, or tried fucking with ByteDance's AI model they were working on training. You should definitely do that. It's a good idea. And Supermicro is allegedly trying to pull an Enron. You didn't hear it from me, but their auditing company, who is one of the least ethical auditing companies I can think of, dropped them as a client for being too unethical. So, that seems very trustworthy. Cisco had a little bit of a CVE in their ultra-reliable wireless backhaul. It's not as secure as the name would make you think. It's, I think, almost a straight 10, so be careful. Next up is breaches. We got Vance, Trump, and some other people had the phones hacked. Happens. Cisco data, I believe this was developer data. I didn't actually see where it's being sold. My assumption is breached because it's info broker and they only ever seem to fucking sell things on breached. Dickheads. You should just buy the credit. I'm poor. Amazon lost a whole bunch of employee data this last week. Well, technically it was a year and a half ago because Ribbit can suck my ass. Supposedly AWS and consumer data was unaffected. Hot Topic got breached. I believe it was announced this last week. 730 gigabytes, 54 million user emails, 25 million lightly encrypted credit cards. Lightly encrypted. They're expected to be done cracking them in the next day or two. Great job, Hot Topic. You fucking nailed it. Interesting stuff. Thanks, Google. They're rolling out Manifest 3.3 still. So I hope you really like ads and hate U-Block Origin. Just use Firefox. It's better, I promise. We'll get to that later. Sophos is to acquire SecureWorks for right to repair is the best thing ever. Sanctions, go burn. You should definitely go and evade sanctions via India to sell AMD and NVIDIA AI compute GPUs. That's a really good idea. Specifically to Russia. I think that's a good idea. I think it was Russia. It was China. Consumer protection, very cool. Airlines now have to automatically refund you if your flight is canceled. Woo! Let's fucking go! Jamming GPS in the US is a crime, by the way. Do not do this. But Finland's been detecting a bunch of GPS jamming in the Baltic. Shocker. That's not new. It's been going on for a couple months now. Mozilla layoffs. Now back to Firefox. They laid off a third of their employees. I think it was. Not a small number. Bitwarden is GPIing a bunch of their stuff, including the password manager and I believe their server. It's a bunch of useful things. It's very cool. There's, election interference TM. There always is. Thanks. VMware is now free, TM. VMware Fusion and Workstation are now free for all users. I'm pretty sure the speculation on this one is it will be free until, well, it's free because they don't actually, Broadcom does not want to spend money supporting it, and so they are making it free for everyone, and they're going to stop supporting it because they're nice like that. TikTok is being banned in Canada. FreeBSD is reducing its support window from 5 years to 4 years. I don't know how many of you that affects, but I thought that was interesting. Russian Linux devs are getting booted off the Linux kernel development. There's, I think, a lot of mixed feelings about this one, but it's definitely something. Flock suck my ass. They've been, the government's been using Flock for a while now to do wireless surveillance. Fucking dickheads. OffSec getting acquired. Love that. Now, on to takedowns. We got Anonymous Sudan was taken down. Let's go. Well, at least mostly. None of these are ever permanent, but at least mostly. A bunch of arrests from Interpol. Like 54 arrests. They took over like 22,000 IP addresses and a bunch of other stuff. Great job. Interpol did it, boys. Readable. A couple of service members got over 4 years in prison. We did it. We stopped cybercrime. Redline got taken out by the Dutch cops.
Hell yeah.
Nice job, guys. Did it. There were a bunch of other domain seizures for various other campaigns as well, and I couldn't be asked to go through the list of campaigns. The person behind Snowflake, that hack that definitely didn't directly significantly impact a very large number of companies. They're arrested in Canada. Let's go. They were asking for that one. Hey. Next one, Alan Bones. Kubernetes image builder was giving root access to, or root SSH access to VMs, like the image building VMs. So that's not a concern at all. Cisco has a this is very long. This is the top 3. There's a bunch of 8s as well. For a wide variety of issues, I don't want to deal with all of them. Cisco had a ton of problems that they supposedly fixed. It's Cisco. Ireland wrapped up. There was a whole bunch of cool stuff, including QNAP, TrueNAPs, I think it was D-Link, I think, had one that was revealed, and they aren't fixing it.
D-Link sucks!
They do. They absolutely suck ass. Qubit torrent flaw allowed man in the middle for 14 years. I don't know if it was actively exploited by anyone, but it's definitely a psyop, don't worry. My piracy brethren, you're safe. Now on to the funnies. So the guy who hacked the SEC, or Twitter, he searched, quote, signs the FBI is after you. This was discovered once they arrested him and were looking through his computers. Fucking nailed it. Unisys, I don't know how you say that. Checkpoint and Minicast are all in trouble for allegedly misleading investors about SolarWinds and its severity. Fucking nailed it. This consequences take a really fucking long time. Google Drive was blocked in Italy because they have an anti-piracy shield that realized that a lot of shit it was pirated, it was on Google Drive, so they just blocked Google Drive. So no one uses Google Drive anyway, it's fine. Schneider Electric was ransomed for $120,000 in baguettes. I think it was 40 gigabytes. Yeah. Apple, they did a little bit of a funny that's actually kind of cool. So in the latest version of iOS 18.1, if you don't unlock the key vault every so often, or after a certain amount of time, it'll just reboot, taking it from AFU, or after first unlock, to BFU, before first unlock, making it extremely difficult to crack. Celebrate only advertises BFU on phones that are 5 or more years old for the most part, by last time I checked their spreadsheet. And AFU, they do up to like 2 years old. So if you put your phone in BFU, forensics is going to want to kill you. They're going to have so much fun trying to unlock it. So if you have an iPhone, you're not on 18.1, you should put it on 18.1. This was discovered because a bunch of cops were panicking because all the phones they'd confiscated, or a lot of the phones they'd confiscated, just kept on rebooting and putting them in BFU mode when they were being held in AFU mode for state, waiting to be cracked. So you should reboot or put your phone in, update your phone to 18.1 if you can. It's a good idea. And that is all. Hope you all have a great night.
Amazing.
Right now, this is the copyright control slide for the talk. So my name is not Gordon Shumway, it's actually Aaron Crawford. And so I'm a security professional that's had several decades of experience in the industry. And I put this talk together to talk about brain computing interfaces, as well as discuss some of the things and security threats that we have with it, as well as the solutions that are available now. I speak under an alias a lot because we do a lot of work as a volunteer group, working on legislation to help pass laws for this new technology, so we avoid a lot of pitfalls of AI. So right now, I'm looking for a job. I'm recently retired, but I'd like to become unretired. If anyone here tonight would like a security professional with over 40 years of experience, please let me know. I'm a person in the industry you may or may not have heard of. I've done a lot of horrible things in the industry. I like doing a lot of red teaming stuff. I do a lot of IR and blue teaming stuff too. I like doing a lot of bad stuff. So a lot of the red team kits and all the toys you guys get out there is stuff that I design. I like doing creating things. So after I sold my first company doing AI work, I became a PI and started doing a lot of private investigation work, and that crossed over to a lot of realms. As I said, I've done a lot of work in security over the years, and that's left me with a lot of injuries. I have a lot of irreversible personal injuries and brain injuries because of doing pen testing and red teaming over the years. I've done red teaming in every continent except for North and South poles, and I have a lot of injuries as a result of doing this for several years. So I needed to find a way of figuring out what was wrong with me and why I was hurting. And that's when I came across brain computing interfaces and what can be done with them. As a security professional, I found out a whole world of things that we are missing right now and that we are failing that is right underneath our noses. That's why I put this talk together. I go around, I speak to any legislative body, any body that can create laws, anyone that can create things in the industry such as policies around technology, because this is very important. All of you probably do not realize that you have end users in your workplace, in your system that have BCI components on your network or are actually using them, and you may not be aware of it. We'll get into that a little bit tonight, as well as what it is. This talk, I legally have to go over some disclaimers. I've shortened them, so please don't tell my lawyers. However, I have some things I need to discuss tonight. I used to do this talk, and I'd have the Harry Potter sorting hat. I'd give the Harry Potter sorting hat out to people in the audience and make them put it on, and it would guess your password 100% of the time, usually 99%. That technology I will showcase tonight and show you how to use it ethically. I no longer do the Harry Potter sorting hat because it's not ethical, because I did not get permission from whoever I put it on to extract the passwords out of their head. They did not give me consent to pull things out of their head. This is setting the tone for the talk tonight. I want to let you know that the majority of this is going to be about ethics and doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, with safety and ethics in this realm, if we screw up, there is a very, very, very bad consequence at the end of it all, which is someone and a person as well as their mental well-being. I'm not a medical professional. I don't pretend to play one on TV or whatever. SecKC has nothing to do with this talk at all. If you remain here after this slide, this is your own fault and problem, and it's on your own recognizance for participating in this talk. Everything with BCI or brain computing interface, no matter what it is, no matter how insignificant it is, deals with human experimentation and testing. So no matter what we do in this realm, we have to handle it with a seriousness and a maturity, no matter what we do, because it is human testing. The fallout from what we do in this industry is someone's brain and someone's well-being at the end of the day. So there are repercussions immediately. So we always make sure to have consent of everyone involved. So if anyone wants to try the brain harness tonight, you need to give proper consent and let everyone know that yes, you want to have the harness on your head, you want to play around in the computer. There will be no unauthorized testing. There's going to be a lot of content, subject matters that are questionable tonight. I promise to handle those with as much professionalism as I can due to the nature of them, pardon of them all. I realize that everything up here right now is open. Everything I'm using is open source. That means the Bluetooth is open. Every single fucking thing that is here is open. I get that. I do not want to see a riot shower or anything else used because I won't have you picking up your teeth in the parking lot after this talk. It's all open and exposed. Don't test it, we know it. We will have sanitation procedures if we do some of the trying on and everything, just to let you know. And continuing education credits, participating in this talk gives you 1 hour continuing education credits for law enforcement as well as computing.
Hell yeah.
I will not discuss any of these things tonight because I don't have time. Normally I cover a lot of weird stuff, such as running around pen testing naked, but not tonight, don't have time.
Nudity, please.
Talk to me afterwards. So, if you come around tonight, you should find a sticker sheet. The BCI security framework gets released tonight. We have a GitHub out there with policies, templates, and runbooks already available. There's stickers available to have fun out there and find it. But right now, this GitHub is updated daily, so any template you need for policies, runbooks, or anything related to BCI, including the pen testing framework, we will have up there and they're changing daily. We have a team of lawyers that help us with this, so if something's not up there, it's usually because a lawyer was mean and redlined it, we have to change something. So the theme tonight is about adopt, adapt, and avail. As hackers and security professionals, when there's a new technology out there, you need to immediately get your hands on it and figure it out. Because if you don't, the end user population will and make your life hell. So it's better if you adopt new technologies as fast as possible and understand them. So that's why tonight we're going to do a speed run. We're going to break things down into 3 quick little areas, give you kind of the vernacular so you can get started, get a Rosetta Stone of sorts. So if you want to listen to podcasts, do your own research, you have somewhere to start. Then I want to kind of show you an intro to the framework for BCI. Security framework's a little bit different for testing and pen testing. I'm going to get you all the files and the goodies and the tools. And then afterwards, there's a BCI cookbook. I want to get into how we can formulate things such as CTFs and other exercises and fun things using BCI technologies. So BCI, what I'm going to get into is a speed run. This is not a normal talk, so I'm going to blast through as much as possible. I'm not a neurosurgeon. This is not college. I'm skipping a lot of stuff, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Understand I'm not an expert. We're just blasting through stuff as fast as you can. Tonight, I want you to leave with the ability to create policies for this new technology, understand it, and eventually even test and use it. So everything tonight is also open source. All software is open source. So when I refer to BCI, or brain computing interface, that refers to a read-only interface between a human brain and a computer. So you've probably encountered it on a day-to-day basis with a watch or with prosthetic limbs or a cochlear implant. So you're probably used to a lot of BCI as it is for the last 40, 50 years. You may also hear about something called BMI, or brain-machine interface. That's more invasive. That's when you hear about like Neuralink, where they're putting an implant inside of someone's head. BMI is a direct interface with the human brain tissue with the computer or computing device. It is very invasive. HMI, or human machine interface, you'll hear it used interchangeably a lot in the BCI world. That just refers to a keyboard, a mouse, or anything you can use to input into a machine. So why that comes into play is you need to start thinking about your brain as the actual input device to the computer. So to think about BMI versus BCI, BMI is where we implant stuff past the skull into the head. You need to think about it as BMI has a very limited maintenance window, meaning that you can only execute that a few times to update or install hardware into a person's head. BCI is great because with technology advancing, we don't have to penetrate the skull. We don't have to drill holes in heads. We don't have to do any invasive surgery. It's non-destructive, therefore it's dynamic. We can constantly change and update this technology. So also don't look at this technology right now like Elon. Don't be him and look at it in an absolute form because it's always changing and technology is always improving and letting us do more. This is the current market of what you're going to encounter in the workplace. This is what people are going to bring into your workplace, whether it's for research or home. You're going to see more in the education and sport realm as people are using more devices for fitness tracking and health, as well as meditation and mindfulness. You will see more and more of this. It's probably already on your network. You probably don't know how to identify it yet, but it's coming more and more. Tonight we're going to talk about non-invasive, research-grade brain computing interface. This will be stuff that you can execute tonight when you go home if you want to. The software you can download. These are the solutions you're going to run into the most. We're going to be using Open BCI, or Open Brain Computing Interface. Everything they publish, everything they produce hardware-wise, all the 3D printer files, everything is open source that they do. We recommend people start with them. As it is actual research grade, it is industry approved, but you can get started for as little as $200 or less in this industry if you want to. So that's why tonight we're going to feature Open BCI, but we don't recommend one over another. These are what you're going to run across most in the workplace. For the framework tonight, we have everything from runbooks, policies, and templates. So all the templates that are out there right now is everything you need to roll out BCI into your environment tomorrow morning. So getting into some of the technologies tonight we're going to use and see and test firsthand, and if anyone wants to be a guinea pig, we can use them as well. We're going to get into a few things. You've probably heard of MRI, or magnetic resonance imaging, the big giant donut that they put you through and they use magnetic fields to determine what kind of brain activity and mapping it can do. MEG is another one you might hear most about. Tonight, we're going to deal the most with EEG, which deals with the actual electrical brain activity. And we're going to measure that, capture that, and turn that into stuff. EMG is another thing you'll hear a lot used interchangeably. But for right now, tonight, we're using EEG only. ECG and EKG is what you see in a lot of your watches and sports tracking stuff. That's mainly just doing the heart. So your brain, I want you to start thinking of it differently now. Your brain is an input device to a computer, and I will demonstrate that here shortly. But I also want you to think about your brain as a conglomeration of unsecure open wireless networks. Your brain is constantly transmitting signals and electricity and things that we can pick up and start harnessing and see what's going on. Now, your skull, your actual skull, acts as a Faraday cage, believe it or not. That's why BMI is used for like Neuralink, where they have to drill past the skull to get into the soft tissue and do more that way. But think about your brain, though, as a collection of open networks and wireless networks, because we're going to assign some IP addresses to some brain activity tonight. With the brain, not going into neuroscience too much, what I want you to think about is the different areas and how they're mapped, and what functions do what where, because that's where we're going to put probes and look for signals and see what's happening. Again, you don't have to be a neurosurgeon, but this is kind of a rough map of where we're going. Again, with these different brain parts, different functions have different things. So if I'm going to walk around, when I put a contraption on later, you'll see me walk around, and you'll see the activity of my brain on the computer. You'll see when I talk and walk, different things light up. So this is why this is important, is if we have a map, we can know where to put things to monitor stuff. So there is actually an industry standard called the 1020 mapping, which refers to all the positions where we can get the closest and best signals for EEG readings across the brain and the skull. Each of these correlates to a placement that we can pick up information such as speech, thoughts, formulation of vision, things like that. And it's widely used. It's one of the few things in this industry that is not just peer accepted, it is research accepted, and it is proven. So one of the things you'll hear the most about with the BCI, BMI is how do we interface with the brain and get signals. The most common thing is going to be the direct interface of BMI drilling into the tissue. However, with technology changing, we can do surface contact, which is what we're going to do tonight and demo tonight. There's also radio frequency, wireless, laser, and sound. So some of the more advanced things I will talk about tonight are not on the BCI, Open BCI platform. They're using some of these more advanced things such as sound and lasers to pick up that information. So there's a whole slew of stuff out there that you can use to monitor or interface with the brain now. And as you move about, you probably encountered this more often than not, is with a prosthetic limbs. You've seen that over the years. That's usually our introduction to brain-computing interface. Well, with what I'm about to show you tonight and some of the more advancements now, we can augment prosthetic limbs even further to give people volumetric space and grip. So now we can augment tactile feel of space and containment. Not meaning sensation, but I can actually grip an object with determination and actual volume. So this opens up all sorts of new things. Anyone here have a cochlear ear plant or know someone that does? That's a BCI, brain computing interface. This is one of the coolest brain computing interfaces because it does both read and write. It reads in the output sounds from the world around you, the sound. It reads it into the transmitter, processes it, and transmits it into your brain into a signal that you can use as hearing. So this is one of the few things and devices out there that do both read and write. Most of the time when you encounter BCI, it's going to be read only, because you don't want writing to happen up here at all. So you're probably encountering it even more now as a toy. Since about '93, Hasbro has been releasing toys with BCI interfaces in them. This is one of the newer ones for Christmas this year where kids can control a Star Wars vehicle with a headset. So there's all sorts of stuff invading every aspect of our life with brain computing interfaces. There's even things in biofeedback and meditation to help prove thoughts and theories. One of the biggest things we're using BCI for now is if you have a child that's on the spectrum, or if you have a child that has communication issues. This helps us to bridge those gaps and create new Rosetta Stones and pathways for communication, meaning that if a child is not able to communicate verbally as well, we can put a harness on them, read what they're trying to communicate, see actual contextualization of their speech, of their words, of what they're trying to say, and help guide them on a better path of communicating with others. So BCI, you're going to see a lot of uses for, not only in entertainment and stuff, but you're going to see a lot more in medical realm as well. In the workplace, it is absolutely awesome, and that's where you're going to see it more, because BCI completely democratizes the ability to use a computer. I do not have to have 4 limbs to input to a computer. I can type 300 words a minute without hands. So by having a BCI brain computing interface harness or input on my head, I can merely think, and it types. So that does not limit computers to those of us with fingers or digits or hands or limbs. This completely opens up the world of computing to everyone now. Because when you have a BCI input device on, what you think, what you move, what you can do is at the same level as me and you with a mouse and a keyboard now. So everyone can do it. If you have someone with injury, if you have someone with carpal tunnel, if you have someone who's been in a skiing accident and broke their arm, you can still type and do stuff and input things to the computer with BCI. So there's so many new expanded opportunities out there. There's also a better way of understanding if your security awareness training is working. There's a better way of understanding if the marketing your company is working is doing what it says it is with BCI. Because we can monitor how not only a person reacts, we can monitor emotional states and all sorts of data with BCI. So you will see it more and more in the workplace. How many of you shop at Walmart or Costco? You've already been exposed to BCI because they want to know what your shopping habits are, you know, how much time you spent where, what products excited you, what displays excited you. So you're already being exposed to this out there. So this also allows you a lot of things to enhance your workflow. When you're using BCI, you don't have to rely on typing or using a mouse. You can have a more rapid workflow, a less stressful workflow. So you're going to see more and more of this. With red teaming, BCI changes the game 100%. I now have quantitative evidence of when that pretext worked for your company. I can point now with empirical evidence as to what phrases your people latched onto and decided to click on in the phishing engagement or whatever the social engineering engagement was. Because we can monitor brain activity, we can monitor stress levels, and we can see actual thoughts and processes. We can now begin to understand what happens during red teaming to the point that we can make our own NFL game films this way. So we understand exact phrases that will work, exact methodologies, exact pretexts, and what works with stuff. It's easier for reporting and recording with BCI too. If you're red teaming, one of the worst things you have to do is write the report after you do all the cool shit breaking in. BCI, slap it on, just start thinking and rock and roll. It's actually very nice. So if you do have problems typing, if you have problems writing or communicating, This changes the game. If you have dyslexia, this stuff changes the game because you don't have to rely upon normal ways of computing. For social operations and social engineering, we can monitor stress levels of people so we can understand if there's an environmental concern or impact. We can also understand what vernacular and speech works best. You can literally sit there and find the cheat codes and the actual source code of what works during your social operation with BCI now, because we actually have physical quantitative evidence that I can point to and go, hey, here's where I got sleepy and tired after eating lunch. I got tired, here was my brain activity. I came back in from lunch, it was hot and sleepy, and I just clicked on everything that came in my email. We can prove that now to you and show you that quantitative evidence. So the framework came about here recently. We helped Colorado and several other states get legislation passed, and we're working with several other states to get legislation passed. As part of this, as part of trying to figure out something to help me with my brain noggin stuff and figuring out methodologies that would help, it scares the absolute living daylights out of me because there's zero security around this technology at all. This technology is being used without any regulation to monitor and do all sorts of fun stuff that you're probably not aware of. So put together a security framework for BCI. Because if you want someone to adopt it, put a GUI on it. So there's some major problems with BCI from a security perspective people don't look at. Not just a supply chain, not just a sci-fi end of days kind of thing. But there's data handling and privacy concerns. There's all sorts of stuff. What you collect with BCI is not just data. It's beyond biometrics. What it is absolutely all your brain activity, your thoughts, processes, everything, your identity. So it's not just data breaches and data ID preservation anymore. It's much, much more. So there are tons of problems we have to be concerned about. This is what the current academia and the current collegiate environment states as being the top concerns for BCI. This should also scare you because this is the only thing that they're concerned about. They're not even concerned about any of the health repercussions, any of the things that can be done, any of the influence that can be done with this. So these 5 points are the main concern that they have right now, and that's bad because there's a heck of a lot more. And data retention is the most thing you're going to run across, and that's what the framework and the testing focuses most on. Because again, this is beyond biometrics. This is absolutely beyond sensitive data because this is your own personal thoughts. This is shit up here you do not want people fucking with or pulling out of your head. We now have the technology to do that. That's why I give this talk now is we do have the technology to pull the password out of your head 1,700 feet away without your consent or permission. That's why we're doing all of this framework for security. That's why we're pushing legislation, is because this shit is scary. So, with the design considerations, what we push right now due to the technology and the way that things have evolved, we push air gapping as the #1 thing for design as well as testing, because that one single entity that has the control apparatus for input should be fairly unique and expensive, and you can isolate that. It should already be in a laboratory environment anyways, and if it's not, it's very easy to air gap. Usually most of the problems with BCI and security are solved by air gapping. Once you connect it to the network, it's just game over because no one has a DLP solution yet for BCI. So we have a framework available, all the policies you're going to need, whether it's rolling out, whether it's rules of engagement, whether it's acceptable use policy for this. It's free. Steal this shit. Use this shit. Use the templates tomorrow. Become a rock star at work. Roll this out. That's why we want you to have it. We are updating this daily, all the time, because we have a group of lawyers that helps us do this. So, I want to remind everyone, because we've already had this encounter in real life, this is a framework. This is not an auditing standard. This is not a certification. This is not compliance. This is how you get started. So if you have a concern about brain-computing interface or any of the technologies, this is where you start. You got policies to start. You got runbooks to start. You got a framework for security testing to start with. Right now, today, right this second, these are the policies that are approved by our lawyers and available for you to use. So like I said, if you take these tomorrow morning, you have a full rollout of BCI in your environment for policy and security side of things. And we want to make sure that was a big thing. We're always adding more policies and runbooks every day. We start out with a reporting incidents for security runbook. If you have something in BCI that's a security-related incident, here's a runbook template, steal it, use it, go for it to get started. And a fun trick that we use that's a little different in our security framework that you should be using in any red team assessment is we start out with showing the impact and demonstrating the impact because it's a little different from BCI. And one of the easiest things you can do, this is a cheat code if you're not already doing this for red teaming assessments or breaking ins, is immediately go look up the crime statistics for your target and the area that's in. That should give you a way of creating scope as well as figuring out all sorts of fun stuff to do for testing. We do this as well with the BCI framework because it can help you figure out how to assess things such as property theft and crime and other things that you need to show metrics for. So the process is a little different. We're going to be focusing more on the user, the software, and the supply chain. So as the framework goes through, it's a little bit more hands-on. It's a little bit less black box because it's usually in a laboratory environment, but it's focusing more on the process of what happens, how it's being used, and how it interacts with your environment. The biggest thing that you're probably going to run into is the durability and the testing of the physical hardware. BCI hardware, as you will see here in a minute, is really delicate, crappy, and usually 3D printed, doesn't last long. But the biggest thing that people worry about is the supply chain, because just like computing, BCI hardware is all over the place, and some of the components may come from Adafruit, they may come from China, they may come from everywhere. This is the biggest problem, is the supply chain, just like in computing, supply chain attacks are pretty epic. So again, we keep the assessment phases down to 5 basic phases, which focus more on demonstrating the impact versus, hey, did the exploit work? We want to demonstrate the impact here because at the end of the day, what happens here is not stuff that can be walked away from if you do have a problem with BCI. The damage can be psychological, the damage can also be a trust model. At the end of the day, it's stuff that you cannot walk away from and fix. So we keep it a little more oriented to showing the impact as well as keeping your kick gloves on. The biggest consideration for testing is human safety. And again, if you're testing BCI, it should never be a black box test, meaning no one should not know anything. Everyone should know everything every minute of the testing with BCI. And that's based upon the technology and what's at the other end of it, which is the human brain. So it's always open. It's always kind of like a blended, converged purple team kind of assessment. And it's done that way out of safety sake. So because this is a speed run, I wanted to give you guys as much as possible to get started. So I want to get you started with things in the real world before I show you a quick demo of how this works. There's a lot of different concerns. Again, I put up these 5 concerns are out there as the only academic concerns, the only legal concerns for BCI currently. And that really sucks. Because all of you should be out there helping with new technologies and the legal repercussions around them. Loft did that back in the day, so there's always precedent set for us as hackers in the community to reach out and get involved in the legal process. This is easier than installing your favorite operating system. To go out and get involved and help with legislation is a lot easier than you think. We are hoping in December to have a series of 6 templates, as well as letters, instructions, and other things to help you copy, paste legislation for BCI legislation on laws in your local areas. We'll get that out. But you as hackers, if there's new technology out there, you should go out there and embrace it and make sure that it is properly adopted and we have proper legislation for it. We fucked it up big time with AI. So Colorado passed legislation. And all the horrible things that we've done in talks like this, and a group of people that are working with BCI out there in security right now, really pushed Colorado to do some changes in legislation. We didn't get everything we wanted, but Colorado did pass legislation in April 17th of this year. And what they did is they took the Colorado Privacy Act, and we got them to append it to include neural activity as well as brainwave activity. Not an absolute win, but at least it's down on paper, and some legal precedence has been started to help govern this. When we bring about this legislation to any legal bodies, It is 100% down the line, bipartisan. Both sides of the aisle will vote on this stuff because once they see and they get the demonstration of what's out there, everyone understands what the danger it is and what needs to be protected. We will have some templates out there so you can start approaching local legislation and lawyers and law entities to do your own templates for bills and stuff. We're hoping that'll be available in December. California is on its way to passing a similar bill here shortly. Kansas, it's not even on the radar anywhere. So when you want to get this on, or if you wanted to speak or get something adopted in legislation, one of the best ways to do is start speaking out anywhere, whether it's Rotary meetings, Scout meetings, public meetings, anywhere, school meetings. Speak out, share the technology with people and demonstrate with them. And it doesn't matter if it's BCI or anything else, or AI. Just in general, if you're hackers, this is the way to get people to notice and change things to our favor in the law sense. So one of the things we like to do at BCI is CTF. And there's a variety of opportunities to use that, and it's pretty fun. Some other things we like to do, which the lawyers said no tonight, but we will do some other things, is it's very easy to fly a drone with BCI, and I'll show you how to do that. You can also use BCI to enhance and allow others to play video games that may not have been able to do so in the past. There's all sorts of great things you can do. Guess the password's a fun one. That's what we used to do with the sorting hat. There's all sorts of odds and ends. You can do win, lose, or draw, because if you have the BCI interface on, if I was to draw in the air, it would actually draw something on the screen. And you can have all sorts of fun stuff. But the biggest thing is I challenge communities such as hackerspaces to get involved with BCI. And why that is a hackerspace can buy all the equipment, you guys can 3D print stuff and integrate this stuff. It is a game changer when you integrate BCI and take it to a children's hospital that lets them play video games and not have to think about surgery. It's awesome to use this stuff to adapt toys for kids who can't play or do stuff with it. It's even better to create things that allows people to do and enter stuff that have not been able to, such as giving an ability for someone without hands to do a diary. I challenge hackerspaces and communities all the time to use BCI because it's amazing what you can do with it. There's all sorts of doors you can open with it. Tabletop exercises, if you want to get started with that, everything is out on the GitHub right now to get started with tabletop exercises surrounding BCI. That's probably the best way to go through and explore this technology before you buy any equipment. Take these policies, sit down tomorrow at work, and run through your own tabletop. What would you do if someone was phish on the computer that they use their BCI interface with? How would you handle that? There's all sorts of these scenarios and things you can explore, again, and use the GitHub and the framework to check all this out. And before we start getting into the real meat and potatoes here, this is how you get a hold of me tonight. If you need to get a hold of me, I have a sticker sheet going around. I have no social media. It's the 21st century, so move on. So if you need that, grab the sticker sheet. And with that, if you give me a few seconds here, I'm going to attempt to demo guys. I'm going to put a headset on. I'm going to show you what my brain looks like. So hold your breath.
Come on, go, God!
If you have a flipper 0, could you please turn it off?
Joel.
Can we require Supreme Court Justice nominees to wear this during the interview? Please. Asking for a friend.
For a lot of friends. Actually, not a question.
Are we concerned about interference from the beetle on the screen?
That's actually the CIA mob. They've replaced the birds.
Awesome.
If we wire to smile,
Well, we've got someone here with a flipper, so I won't be able to demonstrate this, it looks like.
Maddie, get him!
Let me see, 1 second.
who's got a yellow badge?
Maybe everybody turn off Bluetooth on their phone. Nope. I'm wrong.
Flipper finder. He pulls it out.
Bill, I told him to turn the flipper zeros off, but I got a lot of blanks there. It's like, what's a flipper zero? What are you talking about? I'm not a Fed, but also.
Yeah, we just have it.
We actually got Bluetooth. Should there be anything?
We unfortunately have interference, but I still want to walk you through this real quick, so I'm sorry, but whoever is doing the signal, wish you weren't. But this is pretty easy to get started. The actual helmet and the harness is all 3D printed. And you can see we have all the patterns, like the 1020 map. So any point we can put, if there's a blank hole, we can screw in a new sensor. It's by law you have to have the dorky ear clips to clip on your ears to ground it out. It just always seems to be industry standard. But what this does is allows us to control or receive up to 20 channels of monitoring. And as you can see here, there's a series of these blue things. These are the surface contact monitors that attach to your head. So it just rests on
If
your
you
head.
have Bluetooth on your phone, turn it off.
And that's how that works. So this can,
Turn it off.
this is why we use Open BCI, is you can download this tonight and 3D print this. And do we have anyone here from Cardinal Health? Okay, good. If you go to Cardinal Health, that's where I get a lot of these supplies and stuff, because after COVID, they really started locking down due to supply chain issues, medical supplies. So a lot of this stuff, I just go to Cardinal Health, and I get EEG connections and sensors. So like this thing here, you can sit down and produce for less than $300.
Wow.
This gives you 16 channels. So we'll try to get you.
If you have Bluetooth on your phone, turn it off. Let's see if we can get the demo gods. And pray to the demo gods!
Oh.
Now. Where's my chicken? Over there.
May the demo gods have to be ever in your favor. Yeah, they do like shots, yeah. Don't steal Joe Blue's run. It's probably better.
Well, it's just build a record area.
That's not a bad idea.
is right there. So
110 frames per second. Let's go.
yeah, we got.
So the registers are on Bluetooth as well.
Well, it's not just that. So we actually have actual interference. So I'm sorry, but someone's actually interfering, so I won't be able to actually demo this further. But with the software here, I won't be able to demo because we still have someone doing some interference here. But this software can be downloaded, and I just want to give you a quick little run through. When you get this up and running, it'll allow you to immediately attach this device to whatever computer you want. And you can use it to control things on an XYZ axis. You can control things by thoughts. Or what we can see, and you can go back to the website, you can see this, is we will get 16 channels of live feed from monitoring from the brain. That's what we use to correlate and grab information out for like passwords and other stuff like that. That stream can also be used to assign to a IP address and an API. So there's several APIs out there that allow you to use the brain computing interface to do things such as dictation, to do writing, all sorts of fun stuff. Adobe has a whole suite of BCI interfaces that allows you to put the BCI interface on and model clay in the air or draw in the air, and it actually will interact with Photoshop and other things. You can use this with Blender 3D for 3D modeling, or you can use it in any kind of artist programming. Because of the BCI, whatever you do with your muscles or impulses can be tracked. So you can draw in the air or draw on a surface and it's going to pick it up. There are so many uses with this and this software. If you want to do the thing that we demo a lot with the drone flying, all you have to do is download the software tonight. It's called the XY joystick or the drone joystick. You select it from the menu, and that's the exact function that we use to fly drones. Or you can use that to control your stuff on like Xbox or a video game system, in which you can use this to control movement by using your head to move, or you can monitor and just use thoughts. So with this Open BCI software, you can monitor every single aspect of what you're thinking and doing. So that's where we like to use it to show people like, hey, let's set Bill down and talk to him and ask him a few questions, and then we can start seeing, oh, there's the word apple. He thought of the word apple right there. And that's where you can start seeing where things get really scary with keeping thoughts private, the legislation that we're trying to do, as well as the other things. Again, the Open BCI and this stuff, if you want to get started, it's all free and open source. It's not going to give you the ability to do the reading passwords from 1,700 feet away. That's different technologies, and that's not fair to bring that out. But tonight, I wanted you guys to get started with something and have something that you can go home and replicate this immediately. Again, all the stuff, all the software, all the templates, all the legislation stuff is going to be out on the GitHub, and it's always being updated. Any questions?
I have a question. So you were mentioning typing with that.
Yeah.
How do you map, like, how do you... What?
Hi, Bill.
Whoa!
Look at Joel.
I'm loud enough.
Look at Joel.
Thanks, Joel. So, talking about typing specifically, how do you map the keyboard in your brain?
You don't map it, you just literally think. Whatever you are thinking, it comes out. And that's the problem with some people too. In all seriousness, you do need to have policies for BCI because you might have a stray thought. You might be thinking about that quarterly report, and then all of a sudden, Bill's thinking about what other obligations he has later that evening after work, and that's in the report now. So literally you think...
How does it map K if I'm typing? How does it
You're
map...
literally thinking, and we have mapped everything out so that the brain activities and impulses, we literally have a catalog of, when you think of A, this is what A looks like. So we immediately know and have a mapping already. All you're doing is literally thinking, like, hello, it's typing hello.
Yeah, better than that, Bill. Instead of thinking of a letter, you think of the word, and it's faster.
So-
Right? So instead of typing a letter, you said the word and the whole word.
But isn't my mapping different than Dan's?
No,
You're just gonna suddenly realize you think.
you have the same patterns, same impulses, same electrical signals that compose of speech that I do. So we can pull those signals out and make speech and find things out. That's how I do the password thing. So what I did for the password technology is we all hate typing in passwords. So the thing I'm working on with my current patent is allows you to think of something and that's your password. How we prevent that from getting hacking is we each have a unique brain signal and distortion floor in our brain. That's a fingerprint that I can't spoof because, and this is not ethical, the lawyers did not hear this, we actually pistol whip someone and put someone under duress to see if we can get the password out. You can't, because when you think about Apple with no stress and everything else normally, that brain signal and impulse, I can't replicate, I can't replay back, I can't spoof your unique fingerprints of brain activity. So it's going to make passwords a little bit easier in the future.
So you mentioned it, but I wasn't really listening, sorry. But like, the device you have there on the table, $300, is that what you said?
You can, for everything, I went to Cardinal Health and helped myself with things and did some shopping. But for parts you can order on the internet stuff, it's about $300 and the 3D printing. And you don't have to 3D print. You can use a swimmer's cap. Again, whatever you want to do, as long as you can get those leads and contacts up against the head to measure stuff, the sky's the limit. We do this now with the surface contacts because if someone has hair like dreadlocks or mine, I don't want to fucking shave my head anymore, it sucks. So that's also why I started building these devices for doctors and stuff. When I went in, I didn't want to have to shave my head every single time. That's barbaric and stupid when we can do things differently now. So that's the problem too, is under $300 you can get started immediately. That's why I point out all the BCI stuff. Tonight, go home, you can go do it. All this stuff, like the back control board stuff, all Adafruit stuff. I'm not a fucking genius. And if I can put this stuff together, you guys can too. Any other questions?
So, when you take an English-speaking individual, when you take an English-speaking individual and they think their words and it types those out, that works because we all think about English the same way. Does ESL or other languages convert somewhat automatically, or how does that happen?
ASL is really cool when signing. People have different movements and measurements and electrical impulses, but it's cool to see like the same areas of the brain light up that they're acting and pulling up. When you're doing a different language, like I can sit there and speak Chinese for a while and monitor it, it's cool because the same areas are being activated. The same things are being activated as if I speak English. So if I'm going through and talking and doing the translation thing like I discussed earlier, I don't have a Chinese library built. Several other languages we don't have a library built for it yet for thinking, but for English and some of the other odds and ends, it's pretty straightforward.
So theoretically, like I don't about that much French, but I learned English first. If I was to say something in French, would it hear me think it in English?
I don't know, but the areas that you access would be about the same. So it's fascinating to see what lights up and what doesn't. So.
Thank you so much.
So you mentioned that like your kind of like own personal noise maybe acts like a salt on your password or something. It kind of makes it unique. What if I just got off the phone with my wife and I got super stressed? Am I going to get locked out of my account because I can't think of my password correctly?
Your electrical fingerprint or the background noise is always going to be constant. Like, if you were able to get this up and running, you would have a constant noise floor that you have to tune and sort out. So we usually go to like about 12, minus 12, plus 12 volt kind of range when we start measuring stuff. But your stress level is not going to be impacted by that. Your actual noise floor in your brain, your electrical noise, that's always the same. It's always unique. Your stress level and what you think and do, that's always going to change, but they're not related.
I only brought it up because you mentioned you like pistol whipped the guy to try to get him to use his password.
We had a volunteer for allowing us to put him under stress. it's very interesting to see, and that's why it's very important to protect every and anything with BCI data, is because biometrics are very, very, very valuable. Any other questions?
Oh, I looked like I had a question, but I was just grabbing the mic. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. Well, thank you so very much. I think we're about the time for November, so we're gonna open that door back up. Thank you very much. If you brought any swappable items, please head towards the shut the fuck up area.